Welcome to CrimePod Castle's Twisted Love series.
Yeah.
Today, we're diving into a story that's as tragic as it is gripping,
Right.
a story of young love
Mm-hmm.
and fierce opposition
Yeah.
and a horrifying crime that unfolded
Right.
on a train in Uttar Pradesh, India,
Yeah.
back in 2019. Get ready,
Oh, wow.
because this one's a real heartbreaker.
It's a case that truly highlights how societal pressures can clash with individual desires, sometimes with devastating results.
Okay, so picture this. Dheeraj and Pooja.
Okay.
Dheeraj was 23.
Okay.
A shopkeeper with dreams of building a life for himself.
Right.
Pooja, just 21, was a bright college student full of hope for the future.
Mm-hmm.
They met, like so many couples do, at
Yeah.
a family wedding, and sparks flew.
And it's that very setting, a celebration of love and family, that makes their story all the more tragic because, you see, their families were from different castes, a system deeply rooted in Indian society.
Yeah.
And their love was forbidden.
Forbidden love.
Sounds like something out
Yeah.
of a Shakespearean play. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But this was real life,
Mm.
and the stakes were incredibly high.
They were. Pooja's family, especially her brothers, were vehemently against the relationship.
Oh, wow.
They saw it as a threat to their family's honor, a concept that holds immense weight in their culture.
So, like any couple facing seemingly insurmountable odds, Dheeraj and Pooja decided to elope.
Mm-hmm.
On October 15th, 2019, they boarded a train,
Wow.
hoping to leave the disapproval and restrictions behind.
Right.
It was supposed to be their escape,
Yeah.
their chance at a fresh start.
It's heartbreaking because that train journey,
Yeah,
which should have been a symbol of hope and freedom,
right.
instead became a terrifying chase. Pooja's brothers, driven by their fury and their skewed sense of duty, tracked the couple down.
Oh, no.
They were relentless.
Can you imagine the sheer panic Dheeraj and Pooja must have felt
I know.
as they realized they were being pursued?
That their attempt at escaping had failed.
It would have been absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
They were cornered, trapped on that train with nowhere to run.
Oh, wow.
Witnesses later described hearing heated arguments,
Right.
accusations hurled at Dheeraj,
Yeah.
a palpable tension filling the air.
And then, well, things took a horrifying turn.
Yeah,
It wasn't just an argument anymore.
right.
It escalated into a brutal public attack.
It was a public attack.
Right there,
Yeah.
in a relatively empty train coach,
Mhm.
Pooja's brothers, armed with concealed knives, lashed out at Dheeraj.
It wasn't a fight. It was a frenzied,
Yeah.
vicious assault.
Oh my gosh.
Witnesses described Dheeraj trying desperately to defend himself,
Right.
but he was outnumbered, overpowered, and Pooja,
Yeah.
imagine her horror, witnessing this attack on the man she loved,
I know.
trying in vain to intervene and getting hurt in the process.
It's hard to even fathom the terror and chaos
I know, right?
of that scene. The train pulled into the next station,
Mm.
carrying a scene of unimaginable violence.
Right.
Dheeraj, lifeless.
Yeah.
Pooja critically injured,
Uh-huh.
and their attackers gone,
Gone.
just vanished into thin air.
The aftermath was devastating. A young life tragically cut short, a love story turned into a nightmare. And what makes it even more disturbing is that this wasn't some crime of passion.
Okay.
It was a calculated act fueled by a warped sense of honor and a complete disregard for human life.
The Uttar Pradesh police knew they had a complex and deeply troubling case on
Yeah.
their hands. This wasn't just a murder.
Right.
It was a very public display of what can happen when tradition and intolerance collide.
Mm.
They had to find those responsible and fast.
The pressure was immense.
Yeah.
Not just from the local community, but from the entire nation. This case had grabbed the headlines, and everyone was watching.
The evidence started piling up quickly.
Right.
Witness testimonies, CCTV footage placing Pooja's brothers at the scene,
Yeah.
and railway records tracing their movements.
Wow.
It was a meticulously planned and executed attack.
Right.
No room for doubt.
Within days, Pooja's brothers and their accomplices were apprehended, and when confronted with the overwhelming evidence, they confessed. Their justification:
What was it?
they were protecting their family's honor.
A chilling reminder
Right.
of how deeply entrenched these ideas of honor and control can be.
Right.
How they can twist perception and justify unspeakable acts. Their trial, which began in early 2020, became a national sensation.
Yeah.
A stark reminder of the dark underbelly of societal norms that still held sway in some parts of India.
It became a focal point forcing people to confront the horrifying reality of so-called honor killings. And for Pooja, well, she was left to grapple with the unimaginable trauma of that day.
It's hard to even begin to comprehend what she went through.
Right.
Witnessing her lover's brutal murder,
I know.
the betrayal by her own family, the physical and emotional scars that would undoubtedly linger.
Her story, unfortunately, is not unique. It shines a light on a larger issue.
A deeply rooted problem that demands attention and action.
This is just the beginning of our deep dive into this tragic case. We'll be back with part 2, where we'll explore the cultural context and the motivations behind this horrific crime in more detail. Stay with us.
Yes. Welcome back to our deep dive into the tragic case of Dheeraj and Pooja. As we delve further into this story, it's important to remember that it goes beyond just one couple, one family, one crime. You know, it compels us to look at the larger forces at play,
Yeah.
the deeply rooted beliefs and traditions that can sometimes have devastating consequences.
You're absolutely right. To really grasp the gravity of this case, we need to understand the concept of honor and the immense weight it carries in certain cultures, particularly within the context of the caste system in India.
Exactly. In many societies, a family's honor is closely intertwined with its reputation, social standing, and perceived moral integrity. It's a powerful force, one that can shape behavior and dictate social interactions. And it seems like in this case, Pooja's family viewed her relationship with Dheeraj as a direct assault on their honor.
That's right. They saw it as a transgression that brought shame upon them because Dheeraj came from a different caste.
Okay, so for those of us who might not be familiar with the caste system, can you break it down a bit? What exactly does it mean and how does it play into this story?
The caste system, which has been a part of Indian society for centuries, is basically a hierarchical social division that assigns individuals to specific groups based solely on their birth. It's a system that has historically led to deep inequality and discrimination.
So essentially, you're born into a certain caste, and that dictates your social standing, your opportunities, even who you can marry.
Unfortunately, yes. Intercaste relationships are often deeply frowned upon within the caste system. They're seen as disrupting the social order and, as we see in this case, can even be perceived as a threat to a family's honor.
That's just heartbreaking. Two people fall in love, and instead of celebrating that love, it's met with such hostility and violence.
It's a tragic illustration of how deeply ingrained these beliefs can be and how challenging it is to break free from them.
And it sounds like Pooja's brothers, as the male members of the family, felt a particular responsibility to protect that perceived honor, even if it meant resorting to violence.
Sadly, that's a common dynamic in patriarchal societies, where men are often seen as the protectors of family honor, and women are expected to conform to certain societal expectations.
So they took it upon themselves to punish Dheeraj and Pooja, believing that they were acting in the best interests of their family, upholding their moral code.
Their actions were likely a complex mix of societal pressure, a warped sense of duty, and a failure to see beyond these deeply ingrained traditions.
It's hard to fathom that even in the 21st century, such deeply ingrained prejudices still hold such sway over people's lives, leading to such horrific acts. What can be done to break this cycle of violence and control, to challenge these harmful norms that seem to justify these acts?
It's a complex issue, one that requires a multi-pronged approach. Education is key. We need to raise awareness about the dangers of honor-based violence and promote respect for individual choice and freedom.
It sounds like a massive undertaking, especially when dealing with beliefs and traditions that have been ingrained for generations.
It definitely is, but it starts with open conversations, challenging stereotypes, and creating a space where empathy and understanding can flourish.
We also need to empower women, give them a voice in decisions that affect their lives.
Right, absolutely. When women are educated and empowered, they're better equipped to challenge these harmful traditions and advocate for change.
And what about the role of law enforcement and the legal system?
They play a crucial role, too. We need stricter laws that explicitly address honor-based violence and ensure that perpetrators are held accountable for their actions.
It seems like the court sent a strong message in this case by sentencing Pooja's brothers to life imprisonment.
Yes, that verdict was a significant step towards showing that honor killings will not be tolerated. But legal measures alone aren't enough. We need to address the root causes of this issue, which lie in deep-seated prejudices and a culture of control.
So it's a combination of education, empowerment, legal reforms, And a fundamental shift in societal attitudes.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of respect,
Right.
where love is celebrated, not punished, and where individuals are free to make their own choices without fear of violence or retribution.
It's a long and challenging road ahead, but it's a fight worth fighting. Dheeraj and Pooja's story serves as a tragic reminder of the work that still needs to be done. Stay with us for part 3, where we'll delve into the aftermath of this tragedy and explore the broader implications for society as a whole. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the tragic case of Dheeraj and Pooja. We've examined the events and delved into the cultural context and tried to understand the motivations behind this horrific crime.
Right.
Now let's shift our focus to the aftermath
Okay.
and the broader implications for society.
This case didn't just stay confined to the courts or the local community. It resonated throughout India, sparking national outrage and reigniting the conversation about honor killings and the urgent need for change.
It really feels like Dheeraj and Pooja's story
Yeah.
became a symbol, a catalyst for something bigger.
It did. Their story, tragically cut short, forced people to confront the uncomfortable truth that these deeply rooted prejudices still exist and can have devastating consequences.
And the media coverage
Right.
played a huge role in amplifying that conversation, right?
Absolutely. Dheeraj and Pooja's love story,
Yeah.
their defiance, their brutal end, it captivated the nation. Their faces were on every news channel, their story in every newspaper. It wasn't just a news story. It became a rallying cry for change, prompting calls for stricter laws and greater protection for those who dare to challenge tradition.
So it sounds like this case really put pressure on the government
It did.
to take action.
The government responded by reaffirming its commitment to combating honor-based violence,
Right.
pledging to strengthen law enforcement efforts and provide support for victims.
But as we've discussed, laws and policies
Right.
are only one part of the solution. Real change, lasting change, has to come from within society itself.
You're absolutely right. It requires a fundamental shift in attitudes and beliefs,
Right.
a dismantling of those age-old prejudices that fuel these acts of violence.
So where do we even begin to tackle something so deeply ingrained?
It starts with education.
Right.
We need to reach young people, teach
Yeah.
them about the dangers of honor-based violence, challenge traditional gender roles, and instill in them the importance of individual choice and freedom.
It's not just about young people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to engage with entire communities, families, even religious leaders.
Exactly. We need to have those difficult conversations, break down stereotypes, and foster empathy and understanding across generations. It's about creating a space where differences are respected and love is celebrated, not punished.
Pooja survived that attack, but her life will forever be marked by this tragedy.
Right.
It's hard to even imagine the trauma, the grief, the fear she must live with every day.
Her resilience is remarkable. Despite the immense pain and loss she's endured, she chose to rebuild her life. Her story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, but it also highlights the urgent need for support systems for survivors of honor-based violence.
We can't bring Dheeraj back. We can't erase Pooja's pain, but we can honor their memory by working to prevent similar tragedies from happening in the future.
And that starts with each of us. It starts with speaking out against injustice, challenging harmful traditions, and promoting a culture of respect and understanding.
Dheeraj and Pooja's love story, as tragic as it is, reminds us that love should never be a crime. It reminds us that everyone deserves the freedom to choose their own path, to love who they want to love, without fear of violence or retribution.
Their legacy should be a world where individual choice is respected, where love in all its forms is celebrated,
Yeah.
and where those archaic traditions that seek to control and oppress are finally left behind.
Thank you for joining us on this difficult but essential journey. We hope this deep dive has been insightful and has sparked some important conversations. If you found this discussion impactful, please consider subscribing to our podcast and YouTube channel for more deep dives into thought-provoking stories and crucial social issues. Together, let's work towards a world where love, not hate, prevails.